they have looked all tournament, right, Kelsey? Kelsey 100%. And Kayla with you. And my goodness, we all knew New Year's Eve games, they're supposed to be something that were incredibly exciting. And you got to be excited if you are cheering for Canada because, boy, they look good locking up the top seed in Group A.
Yeah, and who saw that performance coming? I mean, it's kind of been building towards that, but I mean, more so from the Finnish side. They've been averaging something like 48 shots per game. They were held to just one shot in the first period alone as Canada, wow, that was a flattering scoreline for the Finns. The last two undefeated teams in the tournament, Canada is yet to trail for a single second, while Finland has only been behind for 36 seconds. Canada has also scored a goal in the opening 5 minutes in all of their games thus far. And Canada gets on the board early again in this one.
Now Dylan Cousins in, shoots, scores! Dylan Cousins fires it home, and once again, Canada strikes early.
Cousins leading Canada with 9 points coming into this one. His 5th goal of the tournament ties him for the lead. It's 1-0. Canada just all over the Finns in the first period. Jack Quinn with a fantastic pass ahead to Jacob Peltier, but Peltier gets turned aside. Canada outshot Finland 17-1. I repeat, 17-1 in the opening 20 minutes. But late in the frame, Alex Newhook taking a shoulder-to-shoulder hit. He came out, played one more shift in the second, then left the game with an upper body injury. So something to keep tabs on heading to the quarterfinals. Midway through the second, more pressure from Canada. Peltier gets the puck in the high slot, and his shot goes off at Dylan Holloway and in. Canada is up 2-bagel. A few minutes later, Peyton Krebs parked in front. Point shot is deflected, lands at Krebs' feet, and he puts it in between his own legs. Fantastic goal with his back to the net. There it is, 3-0, and the Krebs family loving it. Finland averaging almost 48 shots per game coming into this one. Had just 7 entering the third period, but a few minutes in on the power play, they finally solved Devin Levi. Brad Lambert's wrister goes off a stick it in. That cuts the lead to 3-1. A few minutes later, shoots, but Levi makes a save. Finland outshot Canada 7-1 to open the third, but that is as close as they come, as we saw Dylan Cousins salt this one away to make it a 4-1 final. So that's Cousins' 6th goal, so that gives him the tournament lead thus far. Canada is the only team yet to trail at any point now in this tournament. Canada is now 4-3 against Finland in their last 7 games against each other at this tournament. The two countries had split the last 6 meetings. Finland had scored 4 goals or more in each of their previous 3 games coming into this one, but Canada taking care of business and taking care of Group A. And with more, let's take a look at the Group A standings as we now have these officially in the books. So for the 3rd time in the last 4 years, Team Canada tops its group at the World Junior Championship. Germany comes up 3rd, securing their first ever quarterfinal berth at the World Junior Championship after taking care of the Swiss yesterday. But for more on Canada's victory over Finland, let's go back to Edmonton and James Duffy.
All right, thank you. Alongside Bob McKenzie and Craig Button. The score only read 4-1 at the end, but that was as dominant a performance as Canada's 16-2 win over Germany, except this was Finland, a team that's won 3 gold medals in the last 7 years. Perhaps not as strong a Finnish team as we've seen in more recent years, guys, but how dominating a performance was that by Canada, and how did they do it?
Well, it was thorough and complete, James. And, you know, you heard Ray Ferraro talk about the ferocious forecheck. It started on the first shift of the game, and they were relentless throughout the game. I mean, Finland didn't have any room. They didn't even have any time to even think about that they didn't have any room, because that's how quick and dominant Canada were throughout. They had a shift in the second period leading up to their 3rd goal where they were on the puck. They won every puck battle. They made a line change before ultimately the only way Finland could get off the ice was because Canada was celebrating that goal. It was just brilliant in the way that they finished it off, but this is how they started. They ran into a little bit of some bumps in the 3rd period, nothing significant, but the game plan right from the get-go was followed to a T, and Finland never had a chance.
Dylan Cousins wore the C for Canada for captain and catalyst as he bookends this victory. Has he been, Bob, the best player for Canada in this tournament?
There are a lot of really good players on Canada, but the best player for Canada in this tournament, in this game, was Dylan Cousins. And with Kirby Dach going out of the lineup, that was supposed to be the big 1-2 punch up front. And Cousins has really picked up the slack with Dach's absence. does a tremendous job of creating his own turnover, going down on a 2-on-1, almost a 3-on-1, and they give him the lane, and he takes advantage. Very similar, turning defense into offense. This was the game against Slovaks late in the game, 1-0 lead, and Cousins does a great job of turning a puck over, getting it up to Tomasino, and icing the game. And don't ever think that an empty net goal should be discounted for any reason, because that is why they call Dylan Cousins the workhorse from Whitehorse. Because the young man from Yukon, the Yukon, however you want to pronounce that territory, Dylan Cousins made that empty net goal seem like an absolute brutish work of art.
That nickname copyrighted by Craig Button, so you owe him a few dollars for just saying it there, Bob. And with that performance on this night, as we look at the tournament scoring leaders, Dylan Cousins has, at least for now, taken over the lead. Trevor Zegras of the U.S. has one more game against Sweden, but 11 points to 10 right now for Dylan Cousins. Devin Levi has yet to face more than 20 shots in a game, but Craig, this game was still in doubt in the third period when it was 3-1 and the Finns were swarming. So is it the timing of his saves when he has to make them that's been the most impressive thing about Levi?
Yeah, absolutely, it has been steady, even, reliable, understands the moments in the game, and the only goal that went in on this game on him went off the stick of Thomas Harley, and we saw that earlier on where the puck that went past them in the Germany game was off the stick of Bowen Byram. But later in the game, he just understands rock solid positioning, has to find the puck here, needs a little bit of a break for his team, gets the whistle, and then he comes across with that economy of effort. But he's so focused and understands, hey, I'm not going to give Finland any sniff of an opportunity. And while Finland may have thought they had a chance, Devin Levi said this door is shut, completely closed.
And with 3 gold medals in the last 7 years, we already knew the Finns were an elite junior hockey nation. But the reality is now, this is typical when you're that good. Now the Finns will be questioned. Do they have the right players here for the game? Atu Räty, Patrick Piesel, 2 guys that played on their team last year, were eligible to come back this year. They didn't bring them along, and they had a tough time generating offense. Don't know if it would have made a difference against Canada, but welcome to elite status when you lose a hockey game and you are focusing on the players that aren't here instead of the ones that are. It's actually a compliment.
Long way to go, quarterfinals, semis, and perhaps a gold medal game for Canada, but this is fascinating. Over the last 7 years, this was the 7th meeting between Canada and Finland at this tournament. The previous 6 times, the winner of the game went on to win the gold medal.
New on SC, Ryan Rashog is with Canada coach Andre Tourigny.
Well, Andre, a pretty stifling performance by your team tonight. What impressed you most in what you saw from your team?
We sustained our forecheck throughout the game. I think in the third period they pushed back, which were expected. But if you look the way we played, the urgency and the way we skate and our forecheck was unbelievable.
You were looking to maybe learn something about your team tonight in the way they pushed back if they were challenged. You were hoping to see that. Did you learn some things about your team, you think?
Yeah, they pushed back in the third, but I like our composure. Our goalie was rock solid when we needed. I think in that sense we learned through adversity in the third period, but the way we could sustain the play, I was really proud of them, and that's what I learned about our team.
We see the players piling up the points. Offense has not been an issue for you, but when you think about the defensive backbone of this team, who are some of the more unsung heroes that are emerging for you?
Honestly, I think all our D are good. We talk about it early with Mitch before the game, and we were saying, we want Bo and Jimmy, obviously against Lindell, but we were kind of if it's not that's all right. It's not because the other guys cannot do it. It's just we prefer those guys, but it was not a hard matchup. It was obviously that's A, but if we cannot do it, it's B. So, Schneid's is physical. Harley has a hell of a tournament, skated really well, moved the puck well. Corsi, when he chipped in, he's playing well. Same thing, Barron and Gooley. Gooley has a really good tournament as well as physical, moved the puck well. We're really happy about our depth.
A thought on the Czechs in the quarterfinals?
Well, we'll pass the new year. That's in 21. That's long way to go. But the Czech, they will trap in neutral zone, collapse their net front. They have good goaltender. They can score off their power play. They can score off counter attack as well. So our puck management will be really important, and we need to get inside and have a quick counter attack mentality.
Well, Happy New Year. Any New Year's resolutions for you or the staff?
No, but I have one in mind. I will keep it for myself.
All right. Well, maybe we'll ask you in a few days. Thanks.
There you go. Thank you.
Oh, just say it, Andre. It's gold. Okay, Czech Republic, you were just talking about them taking on Austria. And Austrian goalie Sebastian Ranishitz came in having stopped 119 of 133 shots faced. Yeah, he was left out to dry once again. Scores in a second. Simon Kubicek beats Ranishitz through the screen. They would review it for a crease violation, but the ruling on the ice stands. Czechs opening up the scoring here. Midway through the frame, Ranishitz looking to cover up. Instead, it's poked away by his teammate, and his teammate shoves a Czech player on top of him, leading to another goal. Yikes. Ranishitz immediately pleading for goalie interference, but once again, the ruling on the ice, it stands. Ranishitz faced another 61 shots, bringing his tournament total to 194. Austria loses 7-0. So the Czech Republic lock up fourth place in Group B. Meantime, Canada will face them in the quarterfinals. That should be a good one. Czechs haven't won a medal at the World Juniors since earning bronze back in 2005. Austria, meanwhile, finishes last in Group B. We have a big game in Group B action tonight. Sweden coming off of an overtime loss to Russia yesterday. That was an excellent game, taking on United States. Our coverage starts 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific.
New on SC, Dylan Cousins with our Ryan Rashog.
Well, Dylan, a pretty dominating performance from your team tonight. What do you think you managed so well on the defensive side of things to limit them the way you did?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing was we were in the O zone so much and just reloading hard on pucks, and you know, it was tough for them to get into our zone, and we were tracking like we did and reloading like we did. So I think it started in the O zone, and you know, just shutting them down right away on their zone entries. Are
you learning things about this group each and every night? Tonight was probably as tough a test as you faced, and what would you have learned tonight? Oh yeah, for sure. You know, we were real happy with how we came out and started this game. I think it was you know, our most dominant performance you know, in the first period. And then we just continued that throughout the game. We got on our heels a little bit in the third there. They were coming hard, but you know, we grinded it out and got the win. I want you to tell me about your two goals. It would seem one of them was sheer skill and the other one sheer will, just the way those two ended up going in. Yeah, I mean, the first one I kind of got a lucky bounce and got around that guy, and it was a 3-on-1, and you know, I was going to pass the whole way, and then I just took one quick look at the net and he was cheating, so you know, I just released it short side. And then on the second one, you know, it was just kind of a battle. The puck was bouncing everywhere, and I just you know, used my body to kind of protect it and battle and grind it out. It is New Year's. 2020 is over. How do you feel as the calendar flips over, the situation you're in, and how you feel about the new year coming? Yeah, obviously 2020 was a tough year. You know, we started off nice with our win last year at World Juniors, but after that it kind of went downhill. So, you know, it's nice to kind of turn the page on that year and get into 2021. Hopefully it's a lot better. Happy New Year. All the best. Thank you very much. You too.
This tournament report was brought to you by Napa Auto Parts.
The Raptors try and erase an abysmal 0-3 start as they take on RJ Barrett and the Knicks in Tampa.
Plus, after Canada's win to Finland, we have plenty more post-game reaction coming straight up from Edmonton.
CTV's The Rookie is back. Set up by his friend for a crime he didn't commit. Will Nolan be arrested? Find out on the new season of The Rookie. Get into it Sunday, January 3rd, only on CTV.
New on SC. Here's our Ryan Rashog with Thomas Harley.
Well, Thomas, defense, very much the order of the day for your team. What do you think you did so well defensively? Because you limited a team that has gotten quite a bit of offense through the tournament.
You know, I think it really stems from our forwards. They were really getting on the forecheck, making it easy for us. We didn't have to play too much defense, but when we did, we had tight gaps, we had good sticks, and we got it out pretty quickly.
This was your big test in the preliminary round. You obviously pass it with flying colors, but as you move along, what are you learning about this group and about your D-corps in particular?
How skilled we are. I think we're all really good with the puck. You know, I think all of us came into camp. We all knew we were pretty solid on defense. You know, we're all pretty big. We're all 6'3", 200 pounds. Like, we're strong, big guys. And then you realize that guys like Gooley and Barron and Schneids can all really move the puck really well. So it's pretty cool to see.
I watch you down in the tunnel after games, celebrating wins together. You're a loud group. There's lots of hooting and hollering. How would you describe the chemistry that has developed in this team with everything that you've been through?
It's great. You know, the quarantine in Red Deer, we've been together for a month and a half. It's just brought us closer together. We've been through a lot together, a lot of Zoom workouts, a lot of Zoom meetings, just a lot of Zoom. So when we got back together in the rink, it was great to be together, and I think we really bonded through that.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
To the pros, where Alberta became the first province to officially give its 2 NHL teams the green light to play games in their home arenas this upcoming season. As for the Public Health Agency of Canada, they've made a one-time quarantine exemption for players and staff of any NHL Canadian team returning from the States for the start of training camps. The agency put out this release saying the government of Canada has issued an exemption to the mandatory 14-day quarantine period under national interest grounds for team members and staff of the NHL to return to preseason practice and training. NHL teams and other professional sports teams must operate within the rules of their provincial jurisdictions for sports or sporting events, which can include seasonal game play. Let's head back to Edmonton. New on SC, Ryan Rashog with Jamie Drysdale.
Jamie, a convincing win for your team over Finland tonight. Were even you a little bit surprised at how much you were able to stifle them offensively?
You know, I wouldn't say surprised. I think we're really confident in our group, and we know what the damage we can do. So I think we definitely had a good start, and, you know, we tried to maintain it throughout the whole game.
We all know how much skill you guys have as a group, but do you think you illustrated the defensive backbone that exists in this group as well?
For sure. I think, you know, we need to learn and we need to play responsibly in this tournament. You know, everyone is capable of scoring X amount of goals in however many minutes. So, you know, every team's good, and, you know, especially from here on out. So we gotta continue to be responsible in our end and, you know, push to continue to score goals as well.
Perfect through the preliminary round. You've been through a tremendous amount as a group. I watch you guys celebrate. It seems like there's some real connections building. What would you say about your chemistry?
For sure. I think, you know, there's been a lot of ups and downs throughout this whole experience as expected. But I think, you know, having each other is big, having each other's backs in this tournament, and, you know, just building that chemistry, that bond, and, you know, really becoming, you know, brothers in that locker room. So I think that's exactly what we need and what we want, and, you know, we're happy with where we're at right now.
How do you feel about the team's overall taste in music at this point? We're hearing a lot of early 2000s hip-hop coming from that room.
Hey, I'm a big fan. You know, I've never been a huge rap guy, so, you know, the change up, the country, the early 2000s, the hip hop stuff, you know, I'm all for it. So, you know, I'm happy with it.
What are you looking forward to most in 21?
A lot of things. I don't know. I think, you know, just a fresh start, and just looking to, you know, just have a fresh start, and, you know, I think hopefully come out on top here.
Best of luck and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
All right, when SportsCenter comes back, we're going to go back to Edmonton as a panel breaks down Canada's dominating performance over Finland.
Canada and Finland, World Junior royalty. Cousins fires it home, and once again, Canada strikes early.
Pelche is going to walk out to the high slot. He's unattended, and through the hallway screen, Canada gets a deserved 2-0 goal.
Risha Henderson, rebound, score! Peyton Krebs.
And Canada's captain has sealed the deal here. Start to finish, a dominant performance.
So Canada will face the Czech Republic in the quarterfinals. Team Canada allowed just 67 shots against in their 4 round-robin games. By comparison, Austria allowed 249 shots on goal in their 4 games. The Czechs won 2, lost 2 in the prelim round. They picked up an impressive 2-0 upset victory over Russia, but they were outscored 14-1 in their 2 losses, which came against Sweden and the United States. And for more on Canada, let's head back to Edmonton and James Duthie.
Thank you. Back with Bob McKenzie and Craig Button. We have to be really picky to find things to criticize about Team Canada's victory over Finland. But one would be, I suppose, the power play that went 0 against the Finns. They certainly generated lots of chances on the early ones, Craig. But what can they improve on as we look forward to the quarterfinal against the Czech Republic?
What I would do is go back and look at the third goal. The shot comes in from the point, and then the screen and occupying the goalie's attention in front of the net. Peyton Krebs ultimately finds a way to get that puck into the net. It's one thing to get the good looks and the good chances, but working the goaltender, making him think that it could be a tip. I got to be really careful with the initial shot because there could be a rebound and somebody standing there. When the goaltender can get a really good read on what you're trying to do, it allows him to lock right into that position. So what Canada can do better is get him out of his comfortable position when he's got to be thinking about multiple things. And they have the skill. Just taking it up another notch or two will allow them to have some success on the power play.
Last year, Barrett Hayton separated his shoulder in the World Juniors, and it looked bad. We didn't think we'd see him again. He comes back in the gold medal game for Canada. Alex Newhook leaves the game against Finland, and that will be a question for Canada going forward, Bob.
Yeah, this World Junior can sometimes be a war of attrition, and obviously Canada lost Kirby Dach before the tournament even started, and then Alex Newhook, late in the first period, went shoulder to shoulder with the Finnish defender at the blue line, got stood up pretty good, came out in the second period, tried to give it a go, couldn't go, went right back to the dressing room. Upper body injury, day-to-day status, looks like a shoulder injury, but we're not going to play doctor on that one. And as you said, James, last year the Hayton thing looked really bad, and he still came back and provided all sorts of heroics. The one thing Canada has going for it is obviously depth. When that happened and Alex Newhook came out of the game, Connor Zary, the 13th forward, he moved up to the left side. Peyton Krebs moved from the left wing into the middle, and Cole Perfetti stayed on the right side. Canada right now, without Newhook, if that's the case, is down to 12 forwards, so working without a safety net, but it's still a very deep, talented lineup. And if anybody can withstand this loss, it would be Team Canada. And there's some time here, a day off, quarterfinals, and presumably if you win that one, day off. So there is some time to play with there on a day-to-day injury.
Craig, you've watched the Czechs closely. What do you make of a team that got blown out a couple of times, but also played a near-perfect game against the Russians?
Well, Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, almost a perfect defensive game versus the Russians in their 2-0 win. But that was sandwiched between a 7-1 loss to Sweden and a 7-0 loss to the USA. Listen, the way Canada played against Finland, that type of relentless pressure, not letting up at any point in time, I think the Czechs are going to have a really tough time handling that. Again, we know that they can play a really good defensive type game, lock it down, clog up the middle. Canada plays like they did in this final game of their group. The Czechs will be dispatched.
Yes, get an early lead. That's what the Americans did and the Swedes did, and those two games turned into romps. The Russians gave them life, and the Czechs took full advantage of it.
USA and Sweden still to come on this New Year's Eve, but for the time being, Dylan Cousins, with 2 more goals against Finland, now takes over the tournament lead in goals with 6 and points total with 11. Cousins with 9 points in last year's tournament, giving him 20 in his World Junior career. That ties him with John Tavares for the 6th most ever by a Canadian. Eric Lindros holds the record for most points by a Canadian with 31. Lindros, of course, played in 3 different World Junior tournaments. Straight ahead, after nearly a 10-month hiatus, the Sens finally hit the ice for training camp. Pierre Dorna explains that nobody's roster spot is guaranteed.